Michael Carnevale is branch manager and financial advisor. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services Incorporated, 400 Southbridge Street in Auburn, Massachusetts, 1-800-657-9126. A member of FINRA SIPC and are not deposits, not insured by FDIC or any governmental agency, not guaranteed by Webster 5 Cent Savings Bank, and subject to risk, may lose value. Webster 5 Cent Savings Bank is not affiliated with Raymond James Financial Services Incorporated. The information contained in this report does not purport to be a complete description of the securities markets or developments referred to in the material. The information has been obtained from sources considered to be reliable, but we do not guarantee that the foregoing material is accurate or complete. Any information is not a complete summary or statement of all available data necessary for making an investment decision and does not constitute a recommendation. Any opinions are those of Michael Carnevale and not necessarily those of RJFS or Raymond James. Expressions of opinion are as of this date and are subject to change without. Hi everybody, it's another Conversations with. I'm Dick Mon, and as you heard, my good friend Mike Carnevale is with me today. Well, Mike, we were kind of looking at May a month ago and saying, gee, you know, what's it, May you sell and come back in October?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And guess what?
We were wrong. Or I was wrong.
Well, I don't know about being wrong.
But it's okay in this case to be wrong.
Yeah. No, but we've had a strong month.
Very strong. I mean, you know, we're back, not only are we back above that 24,800, which was really a sticking point, but we're at 25,700.
Yeah.
Now we've gained 2/3 of the loss back, and May we're up 6%.
And not only that, S&P is up over 3,000.
Over 3,000.
Yeah, and NASDAQ is flying.
And the other thing we don't realize is the Dow is up 2% over the past 52 weeks. So you think about it. Everything that's happened in the past year, the market is 2% higher today than it was a year ago. Wow. So, I mean, you know, the numbers, I guess, don't lie.
No, and you know, and you kind of watch it. I mean, it's been volatile. It's
very volatile.
One day you go down 500 points. Next day it's back up, but by the same token, May's going to be okay.
May's going to be a very good month. I mean, you know, so-called great start to the summer.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting because obviously we're in the middle of an election year,
right?
And all the hype and hoopla with that, and of course, campaigning has been almost ruled down.
It has been really. There hasn't been much.
You really can't do much, you know, and it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Well, you got the two conventions that.
Well, yeah. Well,
how are they going to unfold?
Well, now I mean, you know, the thing that makes me laugh is every time something happens, all the president does is threaten. Mm-hmm. Well, if you don't have it, and I can't pack that hall, I'm going to move it. Mm-hmm. And now he's going to. What's he going to do now? Oh, he didn't like that he had a tweeter.
Yes.
Thing, and it was about Joe Scarborough. Mm-hmm. And tweeter said they had a fact check.
Yeah.
And now he's going to come down on them. He's going to take over social media.
Yeah.
And he's going to punish them.
Yeah.
You know, and it's.
Yeah, well, it's one thing after another. It's a threat after a threat.
Oh yeah, that's a threat. Yeah.
And I mean, you get so many of these. I don't think anybody's listening.
Well,
anymore.
that's what's happening. You get to a point where you just okay, and you move on.
Yeah. No, this is what he said today.
Yeah, but I mean, the logic of it is that the Democrats have already made plans to basically have theirs changed. Mm-hmm. They're working to change it,
right?
Knowing that they're going to have a problem.
Right.
You can't put 1,800 people in a hall next to each other and pack them in
for days, and nothing good can come from that.
No, you can't.
You know.
So it's interesting. But let's get back and chat about where we are.
Well, it's been, as we just said, that, you know, the Dow anyways has done very well. Interest rates have crept up a little bit. You know, the 30-year Treasury's at 1.47 today. It was 1.24 a month ago. But all the other maturities from the 13th week to the 10-year still are all under 1%. Now that's the second month in a row that those rates have stayed under 1%. So people looking to earn interest on investments.
Nowhere to go.
It's still a losing battle.
Yeah.
You know, the technical indicators have, if you go, May is up 6%. The technical indicators must have weakened. They did, but we were in such a low point that even though they've come up, meaning gotten worse,
Yeah.
they're still not at a level that would say,
Watch out, recession.
right,
Yeah.
and a downturn in the market. Obviously, we're closer to the top today than we were
Yeah.
a month ago, but it's still not, I don't think, in a position where you're going to see a big decline.
No.
At least, in the short
even
term.
even if we just skate through the summer.
Right.
And go into the fall
Right.
at 25 or 26.
As long as
And come out of the end of the year at 27 or 8.
Right.
What a great year.
Well, you take a look at what's happened, right? You've had companies cut dividends and eliminate dividends. You've had companies with reduced earnings. You've had, whether it's been J.C. Penney or Hertz or
Neiman Marcus. Yeah.
all declare bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Yet the market itself has still done reasonably well.
Yeah.
I think as long as you don't get the medical issues coming back.
Well, that's the big dilemma. And Fauci keeps saying, you got to be careful. You don't open too soon. Mm-hmm. And then what we're now seeing is the states who opened too soon are suddenly getting a
rise. Right.
And so that's now proving that you can't open too soon.
Right.
Contrary to what they want you to do at the White House.
Right.
It just doesn't work.
Right.
And we've seen that. So, forearmed is forewarned.
Well, yeah. I mean, you as bad as things have been, jobs-wise, we'll see in a minute, economic-wise, if you ever have to go back to that again, you've wasted all that.
That's what they're saying. The last thing you want to have to do is start closing up again.
Right. Especially as you enter a school year and you enter
I saw a
holiday season.
Mike, I saw a report today. Mortgage rates 3.14.
Okay. Yeah.
For a 30-year fixed.
Wow. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And if that's where it is now, if that drops again, you're going to be down to 3, maybe 2.7, 2.75. Mm-hmm. People will anybody jump in quick and get those remortgages.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The car situation, they're all back to zero for 72 months.
84 months.
Okay.
3 months delayed payments. I mean, and that's the dilemma. I mean, anybody who buys any car takes 84 months and then takes the 90 days free.
Yeah.
That means that's 84 months and 84 months, 87 months. You will be so far upside down.
Yeah.
You'll never get out of the car.
Yeah. I mean, you really got to want the car.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be able to do anything with it.
Yep. And they're still running promotions on 2019s that they still have yards full of them.
Yeah.
And it's...
And what happens to all these Hertz vehicles?
Well, Hertz now is that they'll sell them to you. And you can steal them. I mean, they'll cars with 8,000 or 9,000 miles on them, you can buy for next to nothing.
Yeah.
They just want the cash.
Yeah.
So they're promoting it. They'll sell you the cars.
Yeah.
And
that's competition.
Yeah, and that's going to back up, all those fleet deals that the companies had with Hertz, and Hertz isn't just Hertz. They have Dollar and
National.
They own 2 other agencies.
Okay. Yeah.
It's theirs. So they took 3 down.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
But anyway, we.
But so from the technical side, nothing really to worry about. Major news, the Fed held an interest rate meeting. They didn't do anything. They didn't make any changes. And they said that they're probably not going to do anything as far as raising rates until unemployment comes down and inflation goes back up. So people who are hoping to get higher savings rates, doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon. And so, if you're not in the market to earn something, you you're going to have to wait a very long time, and who knows when.
Yeah.
But probably more than a year.
Oh, yeah.
Other banks around the world met on rates. Bank of England and the European Central Bank did nothing. Norway and Turkey cut rates. So we didn't see anybody in the past 30 days raise interest rates. So, how can you expect to go to a financial institution and look for a higher savings rate when nobody in the world raised them?
No, and they can't.
They can't.
They can't.
They can't. The Federal Reserve Chairman, Jerome Powell, again went on 60 Minutes. This is his second time. Basically said he thinks you're going to need to see a vaccine before the economy really comes back, really recovers. But he thinks that'll eventually happen. And he said that the Fed will do whatever it has to do to keep the economy, from really sort of tanking, falling off a cliff. So that's been pretty good news, because I think that's helped the market that, it's being backed up by the Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
The credit area, Italy, their credit rating got downgraded to triple B minus, essentially the lowest level of investment grade. That's kind of important because Italy was a founding member of the European Union.
Yeah.
It's Europe's third biggest economy, and it's the world's 8th largest. So if something were to ever happen to the economy of Italy where it became a junk bond type status, that could ripple through the European Union. If that ever happened, does the European Union dissolve, and what does that all mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of a thing to keep an eye on. Interest rates, we had said, continue to go down. The 2-year Treasury hit an all-time low of 0.11%. And the Treasury brought back the 20-year Treasury bond this month.
Oh, wow.
They hadn't done that, hadn't issued a 20-year Treasury since the mid-1980s. And they did it because they need to raise money to fund all this borrowing, that stimulus activity that they're doing. That 20-year Treasury pays 1.22%. So the good thing is all the debt that the government has is at such low interest rates that, no real immediate danger.
No.
But still, it's going to have to be paid back.
Well, not only that, but the national debt is in trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
I mean, if since Trump took over, spending is not a problem.
No. We're being saved by low interest rates and also foreign countries who have to invest their money somewhere, and they go to the best rated country, most safest.
Well, that's one of the things that I think has troubled some of the folks is the greatest country in the world. And look what's going on. We have more people sick. We have more people dying. Or have died.
Yeah.
And yet we're supposedly the greatest country in the world.
We're the greatest country in the world. Oh, yeah. I mean, for every greatest that we have we have more coronavirus deaths, infections. We have, people living below the poverty line in the country, can't afford housing and health care. So it's really, I think the gap certainly between the people who've done well and the people who have not done well has gotten a lot bigger.
Well, what's it Bernie says? When less than 1% of the country has more wealth than the other 99%, all put together, we got a problem.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, and I don't know how you really can correct it without taking the money from the people who
you take these guys like Bezos and Gates and the ones who got in when the time was right. I mean, you got to give them credit. Amazon came up with an idea, and it worked. And it's a $1 trillion company.
Microsoft invented the PC operating system, I guess. Yeah, I mean, sure, you can take their money, but that's not going to be the answer.
Yeah, and what are you going to do about it? So it's the way it is, and you just move on.
It is, and you got to hope that, at some point, it can
Yeah, at some point,
move from the
yeah,
top to the bottom.
someday somebody will have enough votes to tax them.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah, yeah. That's the only. That's probably a solution.
Yeah.
Oil has made a comeback. Oil really collapsed there.
Collapsed. Yeah.
Recovered now back into the mid 30s a barrel. But the big thing is the amount of drilling that's going on in the country. Baker Hughes issues their oil and gas drilling report every Friday afternoon, and last Friday was the 11th straight weekly decline in drilling activity.
Yeah. I guess we got so much we don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, I mean there were 318 rigs last week versus 983 a year ago.
Wow.
And domestic oil production is now at its lowest level since October of 2018. So where we were a big importer of oil, we then became the world's biggest, we became an exporter of oil.
Yeah.
We're going back now to being an importer.
Yeah.
That's probably not good.
No, it's not.
We like to take a look at the economy. Obviously the numbers, any way you look at it, are historically bad. Inflation, historically bad. Well, we got deflation. We got pricing going down.
Yeah.
That's usually not good, because history shows that when people see prices going down, they tend to not buy because they think, well, I'll buy tomorrow because the prices will be lower than today. So you don't want to see that, and that's kind of where we are. And the Fed actually wants to see inflation around 2%, and we have negative inflation right now. Leading economic indicators, March was the worst reading in history. April was the second worst reading, but an improvement.
Yeah.
Manufacturing and the consumer expectations, they're the two biggest components. They make up 42% of the index, and they were negative. You can kind of figure out why.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not working and you're
That's right.
concerned about the health situation, you're probably not going to go out and do a lot of spending. Biggest plus in April was the stock market, which recovered from what we saw in those record declines in March.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing to keep in mind, that during those dark days in March, you got to think it can turn around on a dime. And again, it did.
It did.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody who got their report, the first of the month, saw an increase.
And they'll see another one this month.
And you're going to get another one this month.
That's exactly right.
You're going to get another bump this month, and you'll be, it's only a matter of time.
That's right. That's right. Jobless claims, got some good news there. Only 2.1 million lost their job.
Well, each month it's gone. Each week it's gone down.
Right. Yes. We're now at 8 straight weekly declines.
Yeah.
That's a good sign. 2.1 million historically is still horrendous.
Yeah.
But it's the trend is going in the correct way. Long-term unemployment, folks out of work 26 weeks but still looking, that's now down to 21 million, and it had been higher than that.
Yeah.
But you remember we were going weeks and weeks of under 300,000.
Oh, yeah.
So we got a long way. I mean, this has got a long way to come back.
Oh, yeah.
For people to come back to work. But at least it's moving in the right direction.
Oh, yeah, everything is. I mean, even here in Massachusetts, if you look at the decline in deaths and the decline in hospitalizations, the decline in people getting it, even the testing ratio is now down to 8%.
Okay.
And you can see it. I mean, they show it. Yeah. So, things are heading in the right direction.
They're going in the right direction. It's just that we have a
long way to go.
Absolutely. Then the employment report. We like to talk about the jobless claims, who's losing their job, but employment is who's getting jobs. And in April, non-farm payrolls dropped by almost 21 million. Now, historically, the country needs 150,000 gain to grow the economy. So forget about gaining. We actually lost. So if you take 21 million divided by 150,000,
Oh, yeah.
how many months is it going to take?
To get back.
It's wiped out all the gains
Oh, yeah.
of the Trump administration
Yeah.
in the labor.
Yeah.
So it tells you how severe these things have
Well,
been.
I mean, I really think it's a lot worse than people think it is. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yep.
to your discussion, it's what it's going to take to get back.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's not going to happen. Boop,
Yeah, it's not going to happen in a month or two.
throw
or
the switch,
three.
and here we go. you know.
Right. Total unemployment, total amount of people working, is at its lowest level since 1999. So again, that tells you how bad this has been to the labor
Well,
market.
you know, in all fairness to the administration, I mean, in fact, any administration, I got to tell you, the last thing, we were humming along.
Oh.
Everything was
Yeah.
roses. We were, you know, the market, we had people begging for help. You know, everything was, and boom. And,
Right.
and when they didn't, when it started out as being a Democratic hoax,
Right.
you know, and
Right.
then it was, oh, don't worry about it. It's only going to be 10 or 15 people.
Right.
Don't worry. And we should have worried, you know.
We should have.
And the bind was that it caught everybody. I mean, and who nobody ever expected it.
Right.
And then, you know, it just mushroomed.
Right.
It just grew on them.
Right.
And they had no way to contain it.
Right.
You know, it was, you know, it reminded me of the Super Bowl when the Patriots were down 28-3, and the Falcons sat back and said, "We won."
Right. And they just got overwhelmed.
And then they couldn't stop it.
Right.
It just they got steamrolled.
Right.
And it just boom, you know. And once the Patriots got going, they just got we can't lose.
Right.
You know. And the whole thing just turned. And I
Yeah.
think that's in fairness what really happened at the White House. They just never thought it was going to come. They thought it was going to blow over. They thought
Yeah.
it would be just another little flu.
Right.
And we'd be all set.
Right.
And they treated it that way rather than listen to the Faucis and the
Right.
Burks of the world
Right.
trying to tell them
Right.
this is huge.
Right.
You know. And I don't think China helped either.
No,
know.
I think we're going to, and it'll be years before we find out the real.
And it doesn't matter.
No,
You know,
it probably
You know,
doesn't.
the funny part about life, sooner or later, we find out.
Right.
I mean, you know, sooner or later, you find out what they said about Kennedy was true.
That's true.
Sooner or later.
Right.
It may take 40 years or 20 years.
Right.
But it's just like crimes. Ultimately, they get them.
That's right. That's
You know?
right.
And so, you know, I just think it hit everybody. And nobody,
Yeah.
and nobody knew what to do.
Never had happened before.
That's right.
To that extent.
That's right.
You
And we were, and everybody was just, you know, I mean, I was talking to one of my doctors, and medicine will never be the same again.
Oh no, I agree. I
mean,
Yeah.
he says they called me up and checked with me, make sure, and now you can do Zoom, and they can talk, you can see each other.
Yeah.
And he says, just think of how that's going to change medicine.
Oh, a lot of industries, a lot of things the way we did are gonna change.
Yeah.
But that happens, right? I mean, you used to ride a horse to go
Yeah.
places,
Yeah.
then that changed to an automobile. You used
Yeah.
to take a train, then that changed to.
Yeah.
You used to get a paycheck, then it changed to a direct.
I used to
It's all gonna
I used to
change.
obviously tell people, the public house was found by Ebenezer Kraft. He's an old timer, back in 18 something when he started that place. And I said to somebody one night, we were talking, and they were blah blah blah. I said, can you imagine if Ebenezer came back and looked out front and said, what did they do to my beautiful dirt road?
Right. Sure.
What are those wires?
Yeah.
What happened to my fire? My fireplaces, you know?
Yeah.
And that's how they heated the building.
Yeah.
You know? And to your point, you know, and now technology. I mean,
Yeah.
imagine having. I'm a member of the Board of Assessors in Charlton. We had a meeting. We've had 3 meetings. I don't even leave my kitchen. I'm right in front of my computer. We do it on Zoom. We have the meeting. Done.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable.
And there'll be more and more of that.
My wife works for an insurance company. She works home. She's home.
Yep.
And she was talking, they have a meeting every Thursday morning, and they were talking, and they're saying now that they're thinking that they'll keep them, leave them home 3 days and bring them in 2 days. And they'll have a rotating schedule so that they can still have some interaction with because people have relationships, they work together for a long time. And the psychologists are saying, well, it's very important that they have interaction with other people. Because, I mean, she sits alone from 8:30 in the morning to 4:30 doing claims.
Right.
And I mean, it's wonderful, but at the same time, they have this Thursday morning call with all the people in her little section. And she said, it's fun just to hear them.
Oh, yeah.
How you doing? How's the baby?
You're stimulating your mind in different ways.
But they're talking about 3 days home, 2 at the office.
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of that. I think, companies, I think, will find out that in the rush to get back to the way it was, they're going to find out, I think, that it doesn't
There's a better
have
way
go
to do
back.
it.
That's right. That's exactly
There was a better way to do it. And let's be real honest. If they can figure out a way to take, using a bank as an example, and instead of having 8 people at the branch, have 5 people at the branch, they just save some money.
They're going to save some money.
And so they don't need 8 people anymore.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, I know a lot of them just have their windows open.
Yeah.
I mean, the drive up.
Essentially, that's still the case.
And so guess what might happen?
Places.
It worked okay.
Doesn't seem not to be working, right? Because if it wasn't working, they wouldn't continue to be doing it.
Doing it, that's right.
You know? So, I mean, I think everybody adjusts whatever the new is going to be.
Is going to be. But again, from a company standpoint, if there's a way to save $1,
oh, absolutely,
that's going to come first.
Absolutely.
And if they see, I know, I think I mentioned it before. Harvard did a big study. I saw a copy of it with 3 major companies, and they are finding out that working at home, better productivity, more gets done, less, no water cooler talk, no socializing.
Yep.
The 10-minute breaks were 20 minutes.
Oh, sure.
And that's all gone. And so they're getting more done. And so guess what?
Yeah, getting more done and less rent,
Why
less
change
electricity,
it?
less.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think we don't know what the end result's going to be on that yet.
No, the jury is still out.
Yeah, but it's not going to go back to the way it was.
Oh no.
Yeah, it can't.
I mean, everything is changed dramatically.
Yep.
And it's going to be really, really interesting to see as we come back to what we call normal, or the new normal. It's going to be, I mean, outside dining.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can't do it in the winter in New England, but
right.
But yet, up in New Hampshire, guy put tents up with side panels and construction heaters.
Yep. Yeah.
And opened up. Took his patio and closed it.
Yep.
And instead of 12 tables, there's 6.
Yeah.
And you have to make a reservation.
Yeah, I think there's going to be more of that where you're not going to be able to do stuff spur of the moment.
No, you can't just walk in anymore.
Right.
No more walk-ins. You got to call and make an appointment.
Right.
And they'll take care of you.
Right.
So it's really going to be interesting to see where we are. But
we look at to finish up on the employment report. We look at the size of the labor force. Fell by almost 6.5 million last month of April. That means 6.5 million people stopped looking for work.
Yeah.
Not a good sign. Wages were the bright spot. They gained 4.7%, but a lot of that they attribute to this coronavirus incentive pay.
Yeah.
A lot of companies were boosting people's pay by $1 or $2 or $3 an hour, and so that was probably going to wash out and get back to more normal level of gains. Unemployment rose to 14.7. We went from a 50-year low to the highest unemployment rate since the Great Depression in a month.
Yeah.
So I mean, it shows the effect that this
Well, you have to
has
understand
really
something
had.
else too. That 14.7 of our labor force versus 14.7 of how many people back in the Great Depression.
Oh, yeah.
A lot more people.
Oh, a lot more people. Oh, yes. Oh,
Yeah, a lot more people.
Yeah.
And that's why I keep saying when I watch TV, stop comparing it.
Yeah.
It's apples and oranges.
Right, yeah. As sizes are
Yeah.
much different.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's absolutely no question about that. So, I mean, you know, we try to take a look at, well, what's going to happen in June. You know, historically, June is not a positive month. Of the 12 months of the year, it ranks, since 1950, it ranks 11th. Last 3 years have been up and down. You know, last year was up, 18 was down, 17 was up, and in the past decade, 5 of the 10 years have been up, 5 have been down.
Yeah,
so it's, I wouldn't get too excited about what could happen in June. You know, markets really recovered quite a bit.
Yeah.
June may be a month that not much happens.
No. So.
But when it was at 18,000 in March, no one would have believed almost 26,000 in May.
May. That's right.
So, I mean...
Yeah, here it comes.
And again, the people that got out...
Yep. Unfortunately,
it happened again to them.
Yeah, yep.
You know?
Yep, they missed the boat.
Yeah.
You know, they missed the boat. So,
Yeah.
Well, Michael, once again, another good program.
Yeah,
And
I
we
think,
look forward to June, and we'll have another time.
See what happens then.
Yep. There you are, folks. That's another Conversations With.